The squad cars pulled into my driveway like they were about to bust a cartel operation. 3 of them. Sirens screaming, lights flashing. That aggressive red and blue rhythm made every curtain in the neighborhood twitch open. I stood there in cargo shorts and flip-flops, still gripping my garden hose. A thin stream of water dripped onto the concrete. The lead officer stepped out, one hand resting casually on his duty belt. "Sir, we receive a call about threats made regarding pool access. Are you Marcus Thorne?" I blinked, genuinely confused. "That's me, and the only threat I've made today was to my tomato plants if they don't start producing soon." That's when I noticed her. Carol Montgomery, the self-appointed empress of the Cypress Point HOA, stood behind the officers, armed not with weapons but with color-coded binders. The cover screamed in bold Arial font, "Pool access violation." Another one read, "Evidence of hostile noncompliance." She puffed herself up like she was addressing the press. He threatened me with legal action when I tried to implement community pool sharing protocols. She declared in a perfectly rehearsed voice, the kind that made you wonder how many times you practiced in front of a bathroom mirror. The lead officer looked at her, then at me. "Sir, did you threaten this woman?" I kept my tone steady. I told her she couldn't use my private pool for her water aerobics class. That's all. What Carol didn't realize was that she had just called the police on the one person in Cypress Point she absolutely shouldn't have. I'd spent 15 years as a municipal contract lawyer, specializing in property disputes. This was about to get interesting. My name is Marcus Thorne. I'm 38 years old. 5 years ago, I walked away from a high-paying position at a major law firm to start my own practice focused on property law and zoning regulations. Business had been good enough for me to buy my dream home on Elmwood Drive, right in the heart of Cypress Point. The house had everything I wanted: 4 bedrooms, a remodeled kitchen, mature trees, a quiet neighborhood. But what really sold me was a pool. It wasn't just any pool. It was a stunning kidney-shaped retreat with a rock waterfall, underwater LED lighting, and most importantly, total privacy. It sat hidden behind a 6-foot fence. And just to be absolutely certain, I checked the property deed 3 times. It clearly stated that all pool facilities on my lot were private amenities, not subject to HOA oversight. I even had a lawyer friend double-check it. That pool was mine. No board, committee, or HOA queen could say otherwise. Then Carol Montgomery moved in 6 months after I did. Within 2 weeks, she staged what my neighbors still call the coup of the chrysanthemums. She accused the previous HOA president of mismanaging the entrance flower beds and somehow got herself elected in his place. From that day forward, she ruled Cypress Point like a queen without a crown. She handed out citations for lawns an inch too tall, inspected mailbox angles, sent reminder emails about fence paint. For the most part, I stayed under her radar. My grass was trimmed to code, trash cans hidden, and I even participated in the annual Christmas lights contest. But everything changed the day Carol discovered my pool. It happened during a summer barbecue. She accidentally wandered into my backyard and stopped cold in front of the waterfall. "This is magnificent," she said, her voice filled with admiration and calculation. The community would benefit greatly from access to such amenities. I smiled. Good thing I love sharing the view from outside the fence. That was 3 months ago. Since then, Carol's campaign to claim my pool escalated from petty to personal. It started small, subtle comments at HOA meetings about underutilized community resources and the spirit of neighborly cooperation. Then came cool, controlled, like someone who knew he was right. Sergeant Reynolds folded his arms, unimpressed. Then he handed the binder back. "Ma'am, threatening legal action for trespassing isn't a criminal threat. It's exactly what a property owner is supposed to do." Carol flushed red. "But he's hoarding community resources. That pool could serve 20 families. The sergeant glanced at me. "Is it private pool?" "Yes." "Then it's not a community resource." Carol's jaw tightened, but she wasn't finished. She pulled another folder from her tote bag. "I have documentation suggesting the original property lines were drawn incorrectly. His pool actually extends 2 feet into HOA common ground." That was new. My legal instincts kicked in instantly. May I see that documentation? I asked. She clutched it to her chest. It's official HOA business. Sergeant Reynolds held out his hand. Ma'am, if you're alleging a property dispute, we need to see the evidence. After a moment, she handed it over reluctantly. The blueprints looked official. County stamps, clean lines, professional formatting. But something fell off. I studied them carefully, then opened the county recorder's website on my phone. Sergeant, I said slowly, these have been altered. The date stamp says 1998, but this font wasn't used until 2005, and this surveyor's license number belongs to someone who died in 1994. The sergeant's expression hardened. Ma'am, did you create these documents? Carol's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I may have enhanced them for clarity. Enhanced? I repeated, barely holding back a laugh. You forged county records. I corrected obvious errors, she snapped. That pool is too nice to be hoarded by one person. Sergeant Reynolds spoke into his radio, requesting Detective Gallagher. The other officers began photographing the documents. What started as a petty HOA complaint was now turning into a criminal investigation. Ms. Montgomery, Reynolds said formally, forging government documents is a felony. You have the right to remain silent. This is ridiculous, she shrieked. I'm the HOA president. I have executive authority over all neighborhood amenities. I folded my arms. That's not how property law works. While we waited for the detective, I gathered my own documentation, my original deed, verified blueprints, and Carol's escalating emails. I also showed security alerts proving she had flown a drone over my backyard. When Detective Gallagher arrived, Carol doubled down. She admitted to altering the documents, but insisted she was correcting historical mistakes for the good of the community. Then, unbelievably, she confessed to installing a hidden camera aimed at my pool for safety monitoring. That added unlawful surveillance to her growing list of offenses. Detective Gallagher calmly informed her she would be receiving a summons for multiple felony charges: fraud, false filings, and invasion of privacy. You can't do this. Carol cried as officers escorted her home to seize the equipment. I'm trying to build community. He's a selfish one. That evening, an emergency HOA meeting was called. The news spread like wildfire through the neighborhood chat. By the time I arrived, the community center was packed. Carol sat at the head of the table, pale but defiant. I invoke Article 15, presidential immunity for actions taken in good faith for community benefit, she declared. Warren Caldwell, the treasurer, sighed. Carol, Article 15 covers emergency landscaping expenses, not felonies. It's a gray area, she shot back. I stood. If I may address the board. You have no standing, she snapped. Actually, said Patricia Silva, the board secretary, as a homeowner and the victim, Mr. Thorne has every right to speak. I stepped forward with my folder. Board members, Ms. Montgomery's actions expose the HOA to serious liability. Forged documents, illegal surveillance, false police reports. This could drain our reserve funds in lawsuits. Objection! Carol shouted. I ignored her. I've also prepared a cease and desist letter. My attorney will be filing a civil suit for defamation, trespassing, and emotional distress. The board exchanged uneasy glances. Warren cleared his throat. Carol, I move for a vote of no confidence. Seconded. Patricia said immediately. The vote was unanimous. 5 members. 5 votes to remove her. Carol's shoulders slumped. You can't do this. Your legacy, Warren said, will be new bylaws to make sure this never happens again. She gathered her binders with trembling hands. As she turned to leave, I spoke one last time. For what it's worth, I'm hosting a pool party this Saturday. Board members and neighbors are welcome. Barbecue and, yes, invitation only. The room broke into nervous laughter. Carol walked out without another word. The following week, the district attorney formally charged her. 3 felonies. 2 misdemeanors. Her lawyer negotiated a plea deal. 2 years of probation, a $5,000 fine, and 300 hours of community service. The judge also issued a restraining order, keeping her 100 feet away from my property. When the sentence was read, Carol broke down. But I was trying to help the community. The judge's voice was calm but firm. Forging government documents to seize private property isn't community service. It's a crime. Her sobs echoed as the bailiff escorted her out. And as I left the courthouse, I couldn't help but smile. For once, justice had cooled down the HOA Queen's burning sense of entitlement.